sana manute yena urmano matam tareva brahmatvam vidvi niram yaridam upashate. Brahma is that entity whom the mind cannot think of, but from whom the thinking power of mind originates. That entity which is within the periphery of the mind, whom sense perception can grasp, is a limited entity. A limited entity in the form of an image or an idol cannot be regarded as Brahma. Brahma is your knowing entity. Brahma is knowledge personified. His witnessship, his knowing faculty, is beyond sense perception. To suspend sense perception in spiritual realization is actual knowledge, which finally leads one to the supreme spiritual stance, that is Purushottama. Bodha Kriya or knowledge is of two types: conceptual knowledge, Paroksha Bodha, and spiritual knowledge, Aparoksha Bodha. Conceptual knowledge is also of two types: perceptual knowledge, Mati Jnana, and spontaneous intuitional knowledge, Spurta Jnana. Perceptual knowledge is again of two types: sensory knowledge, Indriya Bodha, and acquired knowledge, Samskara Bodha. Sensory knowledge. Sensory knowledge is of two types: direct sensory knowledge, Sarala Samyukti, and indirect sensory knowledge, Tiriyak Samyukti. Direct sensory knowledge occurs when an Indriya directly receives an influential vibration and conveys it straight to the Chitta, thus bringing the same kind of experience in the unit mind. Suppose an elephant is standing before you. Your seeing the elephant is perception and not knowledge, and is thus called perceptual knowledge. It is a case of direct sensory knowledge, because it is acquired as a result of direct inferential contact between the Indriya and its object. The second type of sensory knowledge is called indirect sensory knowledge. In this case, the Indriyas receive inferential vibrations directly. For example, by hearing a description of an elephant or by seeing its picture, one can get an idea about how it looks. Similarly, many of you have acquired a lot of knowledge about London, even though you have never been there, through indirect perception. Acquired knowledge. Acquired knowledge also is of two types: knowledge acquired through habitual instinct, Siddha Samskaradya Jnana, and knowledge acquired through inborn instinct, Sahajata Samskaradya Jnana. Knowledge acquired through habitual instinct occurs when one receives the same piece of information again and again. For example, when you see the elephant a second time, you conclude that this second image resembles the first image, and must obviously be an elephant. When the previous knowledge is acquired by your mind a second time, it is called knowledge through habitual instinct. One's power of memory depends on this type of knowledge. Children have certain instincts which can be called inborn instincts. Inborn instincts is actually the habitual instinct carried over from one's previous life. A baby mammal learns spontaneously how to suck its mother's breast. It does not need to be taught that there is milk in the breast or the method of sucking. It is a kind of inborn instinct. The animal-like propensities of human beings come within the category of instinct. When monkeys quarrel, they make grimaces, a habit which is found in human beings. When monkeys are frightened, they cling to a branch of a tree with a firm grip. Frightened human beings clasp their palms and start trembling. The two branches of spontaneous intuitional knowledge are focused intuitional knowledge, Aparoksha Bhasha, and spiritual intuitional knowledge, Aparokshanubhuti. Focused intuitional knowledge. All objectivities lie accumulated within the causal mind. However, they normally remain unseen, since the causal mind has been darkened by static ignorance. The process to see some parts of the causal mind with the help of spiritual effulgence, is called focused intuitional knowledge. I do not call it perceptual knowledge because it is only acquired through spiritual effulgence and not psychic probing. As the objectivities lie within the causal mind, I cannot logically call it the faculty of perceptual knowledge. Spiritual intuitional knowledge. One who is established in the microcosmic mind is the knower of all objectivities. To such an entity, knowing the entire cosmic stands, all knowledge is spiritual intuitional knowledge. When the perceiver, perceivable and perception, or the knower, knowable and knowledge become one, or when the deed and the doable become one with the doer, one attains non-dualistic self-knowledge, or becomes the embodiment of knowledge. Only this is real knowledge. All other knowledge is the shadow of knowledge. Insubstantial knowledge, the pursuit of perceptual knowledge, has no absolute value. Yakshakshusha pasyanti yena shakshumshi pashyati tadeva brahmatvam vidi nidam yaridum upashyate. You should know as Brahma that entity whom the eyes cannot see, yet from whom the capacity of sight originates. The crude finite entities, which come within the scope of visual power, cannot be treated as Brahma, the source of visual power. Yashrutena na shrinoti yena shrotramidam shrutam tadeva brahmatvam vidi niram yarida mupajate. You should know as Brahma that entity whom the ears cannot hear, yet from whom the ears acquire the capacity to hear. Brahma is not a limited sonic expression. Even if microcosms could hear the totality of sound, they would still not be able to recognize the cognitive faculty. Sound, whether limited or unlimited, is an expression of the cognitive faculty in his limited form. Hence, sound cannot be the absolute factor. The divine sound Omkara is not Brahma, but an expression of Brahma in the form of sound, Vak Brahma. We may also call Omkara the primordial face of Saguna Brahma, Brahma in his creative stance, but we can never describe it as being non-attribution of Brahma. The ears of microcosms are not capable of receiving the entire world of sound. At best, they can only receive a very limited part of that sonic world, a few waves of medium frequency. Yat pranenana praniti yena pranaha praniyate tadeva brahmatam vidinidam yarida mupashate. Like all other actions, the flow of life, prana kriya, is also systolic. During the state of pause, the object ideated upon comes within one's sphere of knowledge. Vital energy, pranaha, which is the coordinated functioning of the 10 vayus, is an expression of Purusha in the form of the aerial factor, under static bondage. It is for this reason that vital energy, by its action, cannot attain Brahma as its object of ideation. So, through intellectual pursuit, it is not possible to attain Brahma as one's object. What is normally called the cultivation of knowledge is nothing but the acquisition of perceptual knowledge, which produces a lot of vanity. Unfortunately, nothing substantial is gained, which could even begin to justify such inflated pride. In the mundane world, there may be a vast difference between the greatest intellectual and the biggest fool, regarding the acquisition of perceptual knowledge. But when it comes to real knowledge, there is hardly any difference between them at all. To attain real knowledge, one will have to probe deep within oneself. The lofty ideas of books and dry hay carry the same value. To acquire true knowledge, that is, self-knowledge, one will have to ideate on the supreme faculty. There is no other way. Thus, intelligent people, instead of cultivating perceptual knowledge, will direct their minds towards Paramapurusha, the supreme witnessing entity, the supreme guide, the supreme answer to all questions, not as the object of knowledge, but as the knowing entity. Tvamekam shmarama shtave stavamekam yapama tvamekam yagat sakshirupam nama mamaha nama maha Tvamekam Nidanam Niralam Bhamisham Bhavam Bodhi Putam Sharanam Vrajamaha. That entity alone we remember. We repeat his holy name. We salute him as the witness of the entire universe. We take shelter in him, who is the sheep in